All right. So here are a few things that I wanted to share with everyone. That how do you know if I'm a leader? I got these four things that I thought that's very cool, very simple. If you sort of tick the boxes, then technically you're a leader. I don't care whether you're a manager, a senior manager, deputy prime minister, New Zealand minister, tak kisah. Okay, as long as you have these things. So the first thing, right? Anybody who is always doing the right things, it's about knowing that what is the best way forward. Pernah tak dengan you punya kawan-kawan, hari ni nak makan apa lunch ah? Tak tahu ah. It's okay, never mind. I mean, yesterday kita makan nasi goreng, hari ni kita pergi western. Ta-da! One hint, you're potentially a leader. Let's look at the next point. EQ. Oof. Emotional intelligence, being able to try on someone's shoe, not actually put yourself in someone's shoe, to try. It doesn't matter whether you understand or not, as long as you try. Macam I nak try kasut ni macam kecil je, sebab tu I tak faham dia. Tak apa. The effort and action that you do to try and understand someone, that makes you already a person who is a leader. Second one, lead by example, walk the talk, do what needs to be done. So when a person, when you're in a group, you face a problem, and you go and tell them, guys, okay, never mind. I know that we're not sure how to do this. Let's try this. Let me give it a go. Okay, you don't have to be an expert. You don't have to be great about it. But if you're the one that is starting to show the way, you're leading by example. Dun, 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 hint number three, that you are already a leader. And last but not least, it should be an addiction. This should be an addiction, which is never to stop learning, constantly learning. If you always feel that, that tahun I had a checklist, I want to learn something. I want to learn about people. I want to learn about management. I want to learn about leadership. I want to learn about Jananik. Okay, so those are things that you always want to improve. That is one of the hints that you're a leader. Okay, so these are my four very simple checkpoints. So if you're not a manager, even if you don't have a title, you have these four things, is already very good. Now, the incomplete leader. What about it? What's his fascination with being incomplete? Why is it crucial that we understand our own incompleteness? So this is the thing that I've always been studying all this while. I've held management roles for at least 17 years. And everywhere I go, I'm always learning and I always fall back. All right. So the easiest way to explain this, right, is you remember that saying when we were much younger, mandi tak basah, makan tak kenyang, tidur tak lena. Yang paling baru, WhatsApp tak jawab. Right? So what happens then? You're sad, sedih. But you think about it. Think about it. When those things happen, what happens next? What do? You try and do something. You try to take an action. Okay? Kalau mandi tak basah, mandi lagi banyak air lah. Kalau makan tak kenyang, I sumbat lagi banyak. Kalau WhatsApp tak jawab, I call pergi stop. Okay, so you take the action. For people who just accept that as it is, you are falling back. You're not pushing yourself forward. Okay, if you feel incomplete, you won't feel satisfied, and if you don't feel satisfied, you won't push yourself. All right. So now, do you agree with that? Okay, I hope that you understand where the incomplete leader comes from. Knowing where to satisfy your needs, knowing that you are incomplete in certain areas, and then try to fill in the gaps. Now, some of you may have followed me on LinkedIn. So if you have, I mentioned it, I think yesterday. Wabi sabi, not wasabi. Okay, so wabi sabi is a term that I learned when I was in Japan. Very, very important term. I didn't know what it was, and when I was there, I got confused. I even asked for one wabi sabi piece dekat restaurant owner tu. Owner cakap, apa ni peliknya? Okay, no. Actually, wabi sabi is a very beautiful term. This is what it says. Yeah, it's a worldview centered on the acceptance of transience and imperfection. Okay, and I put the picture of the cup on the side. And did you know that a cup in Japanese is called chawan? Funny irony. So chawan. And if you look at the chawan there, or the cup, it's imperfect and it's designed. It's been made by hand, and they got this process where they color it and they leave it to in an oven to. Oh, you haven't seen the cup. Sorry, my bad. So the cup is imperfect, and you can clearly see that it's not symmetrical. So that's where it's unique. All right. And wabi sabi is about being able to understand that this is only a temporary position. That's what transience means, temporary or transition period. Okay. And then you know that it's imperfect, but you value it anyway, and you know that it's only temporary. So wabi sabi is actually everywhere. You know, in Malaysia, we will call it differently. Being grateful, bersyukur, by acceptance. Okay. So the complete leader is all about wabi sabi. Let's have a look. Pivoting, right? Basically is changing course. Yeah, almost 180. We don't want to say 360, but you change your direction very, very differently, very, very drastically. Yeah, and it's very key. All right. So one thing I always say is about corner here and corner there. So you corner when you're driving a car, you corner. If you've seen rally drivers are very good at turning extreme angles. So in one of my LinkedIn posts, I actually said that's pivoting, and a lot of people agree that yeah, you're actually just changing directions very, very aggressively, and it's very dangerous. But let me share with you some of the pivotings that I've done throughout my career. So I've journeyed across the seas, literally. I was born in the UK, raised in Malaysia, high school in Penang, moved to Australia, did my degree and worked and my master's, then moved to Japan, altogether 14 years. In that 14 years, I only came back to Malaysia once for 13 days, plus minus kapal terbang time. So I've always been jumping around and trying different things. And that really made me pivot, not by choice, but almost by circumstances, because every time I go somewhere, I've got to try different things. But I had that desire to go and try different things. Okay. And I enjoy being around people, and I always like to learn about how people think and processes. Now, this one's very weird. Why do I pivot? Because of process. If most of you who know me, I'm an accountant by practice, but I ended up not practicing accountancy. Because why? Because Asian families always want their sons to do doctor, engineer, lawyer, accounting. So I chose the one that I thought that had a lot of money. But in the end, you count someone else's money, not yours. Change in SOP kindness at hotels. Okay. Interesting. All right. So everywhere I go, I'm influenced by the people around me. I'm influenced by the mindset of leaders and how people do things. So from Australia, very open ideas, very big, trying different things, very inward looking. You go to Japan, very strict, structured process, very detailed, and heavily reliant on the leaders. So I learned so many things there and made me very excited. Come back to Malaysia and I joined a big global law firm, and that's a pure multinational, absolute high performing culture organization. So process really drove me. And then last but not least, pivoting, you need to find your passion. So this is the one that later on I will speak a lot about in my book, which is trying to find your sweet spot. This will drive you above your fifth gear, which is your turbo gear, your nitrous oxide in your car. That's when you find your passion. So what happens if I don't want to pivot? All right. So a lot of people think that pivoting is about, changing careers, but actually pivoting can be as simple as I change from Android to iPhone. That's pivoting, you know. I move from Astro to Netflix. That's sort of pivoting as well. Best change ever. Correct. I mean, and then but of course on the serious one is that you don't necessarily have to change job. You change your style, you change your mindset, you change your approach, you change your leadership style. That's a big pivot. Don't just go and change and pivot, in one go and change careers without doing any research. Understand yourself first, see your strengths and weaknesses, and then make that changes there. When you feel that you can do more, then you go for the big pivot. Small, cute little pivots leads to big pivots. All right, so we've done pivoting. Let's have a look at number 2 point for the incomplete leader. Yeah, number 2 point for the incomplete leader. Ta-da! Sensing. So this one here is very basic. I'm not going to talk about your EQs lah, your IQ, your awareness, your profiles, portfolio. That one is a must. Sila Tak ni husband. Okay, I shouldn't say that loud. Lama. Okay. We shouldn't be talking about. I don't want to go into great detail. I'm gonna just talk the basic stuff about sensing. All right. So most of you are Honda fans right now. Honda sensing kan baru. You can detect when you're driving, takkan langgar orang, boleh parking apa semua senang, right? So it's something like that, yeah. This sensing that I'm talking about. Let's have a look. All right. Bring out your ninja sensing. What does that mean? So I've written down the two things here, ears and mouth. So I'll teach you Japanese. You can remember this if you want to. Ears is mimi. Ears is mimi. And mouth is kuchi. Kuchi. Mimi and kuchi. So cute, right? Sounds like name of cat. All right. But these are the key things. You know, when you, I know Darwin, you're a comms trainer. So, you know, it's always about listening. It's always about communicating. These two elements are very important. God gave you two ears and one mouth, right?
Like there's no
Yeah.
escape.
Yeah, there's no escape, right? Yeah. But how come that guy's mouth so big? So all those kind of comments will come out. But the incomplete leader really emphasizes on not only the ears and the mouth. Okay. To put it in context, imagine that I invite you to go to a friend's house that you have no idea, and you go into the house. All right. So how do I act? What do I do? Okay, go back into the incomplete leader. Use your ninja sense. So what do I need to know? What do I have to prepare? My eyes, and strangely, my nose. Huh? What does sensing have to do with nose? So eyes is very interesting. In Japanese, it's called me, 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 me. And then nose is hana, hana. So it's the same as flower, hana. Okay. So you have your mimi, your kuchi, your me, and your hana. All right. So the eyes is everything for you to see. So for me, in my journey traveling overseas, I always tell people that whenever you step out from the plane, I always appreciate everything, the sight, sound, the smell, all that. Yeah. And it's important that we utilize our, senses, our deriya as much as possible. But why nose? Nose, I'm not saying that, oh, incomplete leader, all these senses kena bagus. Pergi office, hey, this guy tak mandi 2 hari lah, boleh bau. No, I'm not asking you to do that. But the nose is important because that's the intake of air. So if for you to achieve a heightened sense, you're going to make sure that you breathe calmly. And only then you'll be able to fully utilize your vision, what you look at, what you hear, and when you speak. All right. And once you achieve that calmness, this is where you open up your heart. So heart is called kokoro. Let me just, oops, sorry. Let me go back. Okay, can you see the heart? Okay, so it's the heart. So heart is called kokoro, Kokoro, or another way to say it's also shin. Right, so this is the same as the Chinese writing. So if you are able to master those 4 senses, it's very good. So we don't need to go deeper into EQ and communication and whatnot. For the incomplete leader, whenever, wherever, or whatever that you come and see, always use your most basic senses to determine and understand your environment. Okay, you can only see through your eyes, you can only hear through your ears, and you can only speak through your mouth. Next, let's see what's next. Now, this one is very interesting. I put this in because I thought that it could resonate with some of the people here. Ta-da! Reluctance. So two words that it's either reluctant or reluctance. Now, who can appreciate or understand this? That sometimes when you are being forced to take on a role or responsibility, you feel like, malasnya, I don't want to do this. Please don't be me. Please don't be me. I don't want to manage people. That's the hardest thing. Has that happened to you? If yes, please say yes. I'm sure some of you already, just now, some of the information that I got from you is relevant. Yes, memang malas lah nak deal, malasnya. Oh, yo. Oh, big yes. Ayo. Almost always. Hey, come on lah. Hello. Cannot. I thought we're in a leadership training here. Ayo. Yes, I turned down. Okay, never mind. Be honest. That's what it's all about. We need to know. Right. So there's a few of you, or most of us, when we're given a bigger role, we don't want to. I took it on and have cried every day since. Wow. You want me to put back incomplete song just now? I think that would be very nice, right? Very timely. But don't worry. Let's have a talk about this. It's a very interesting topic. Discovering your incompleteness, right? So reluctance is not everyone wants to be leader, even though they never realize they're actually already one. Okay. If you remember back just now, the four things that I classified that you should know, a hint that you are a leader. Okay. Just the key point is that for everyone to know is that one, it has nothing to do with the title. You can have your title, like I said, your director general ke, prime minister ke, apa ke, backdoor prime minister also. Doesn't matter. If you don't know how to speak, you don't know how to lead, you're not a leader. But the most important part, what can make you change is actually find your wingman or your wingwoman. This is the key. For me, why I have always held a role in management and senior management is because I make sure that my team under me is way better than me. They can cover me at any point in time. Right? Wingman is very, very important. You can't fly in solo. You can be Wonder Woman, you can be Superman, but if you're alone, tak boleh. Look at Marvel, Avengers, they're all a team. The Justice League, the two versions as well. Zack Snyder's Justice League also, see, they're all wingmans. They got their pairing. It's very important that you have that team to support you. And for those that are reluctant, don't worry about the emotional side. Whatever that you're doing now, your work speaks for itself, right? And this is what I find. People who motivate me when I'm working in a team are those that can do their job well and they really enjoy what they do. So I always tell them, dude, this job is awesome. In this way better than I expected. You're a natural leader. This is something that you realize. And most guys will go like, yelah, Rizal, boleh lah. But that's enough for me. That's good enough. Don't worry about the people side yet. Think about your deliverables, what you need to do. The people side will take time on that. Okay. Once you have all that, then you can redefine what leadership means to you. All right. So constantly redefine what leadership means. People think that leadership means dealing with people. In actuality, it's not that. You can have someone else to do the dirty work for you. Okay. All right. So, just as an insight, one thing about Rizal is that Rizal doesn't like policy. Rizal is all about people. So I'm people versus policy. So people is important. For me, if the people are solid, the right attitude, the right vision, same objectives, same goals, and we match on a personality basis, then that can work wonders. Even if you have a very good structure, awesome computer, brilliant system and whatnot, if you get the right people, that can push you to the next level. So, always redefine what you mean by leadership. Okay.